Hello, you dirty little boys. Are you interested in my body? Wash? Well, you can't have it, because this isn't for boys.
Okay, what is up guys? I'm filming a commentary video. I feel like I haven't filmed in so long, but I don't think I've filmed in like a week. Yeah, I know for a fact that I did not post last week because I was going back to school and stuff and I was focused on that. And plus, I've been trying to formulate this AI video that I feel like would be interesting. Hopefully people will like it. I really like talking about AI for some reason. And how much I don't like it, my whole disdain for it. I'm gonna be talking about Sweeney's new line. She did a collab with Dr. Squash, which is a soap line. Had drops of her bathwater in it, supposedly. And it has caused a huge uproar on TikTok. And I feel like it's important to talk about because they're comparing her to Bonnie Blue. If you don't know who Bonnie Blue is, she's an OF creator. I feel like they talk more about Bonnie Blue than Lily Phillips. And they're both kind of in the same category low-key because they both were trying to make a record of sleeping with 1,000 men. And I think they did surpass it. Yeah, it's crazy that was a goal, either last year or this year. A lot of weird things. They feel like women are going backwards with all these little things that some creators and artists are doing. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about it, say my 2 cents on it. If you're new, subscribe, like this video, comment, check out my other videos if you haven't already. Make sure you like, comment, and share. It helps me out a lot. Check out my podcast, Pretty Open-Minded. It's on Spotify and it's also here on YouTube. Everything is linked down below if you want to check it out. I try to post every Saturday or Sunday. If you don't know, I think it's just easier with my schedule. So yeah, but also try to post notifications. So yeah, also made a commercial with it that was also stirring some controversy because she'd be like talking about how dirty men are, and you know, it made a lot of women uncomfortable, and I guess it could, but I honestly take a lot of things with a grain of salt. I take a lot of things as satire when it comes to stuff like this. I actually see the commercial. I saw just the soap first and I was like, okay, you know, it sounds very familiar to this one creator, but I'm going to talk about her in a little bit. Women were mad on TikTok because they felt like she was just catering to men and they feel like it's okay to constantly sexualize yourself in hopes of getting like some sort of monetary gain from it. And in an interview that she did it for fun, and she was trying to make men care more about their hygiene or something like that. The thing is, like, I wasn't introduced to Sweeney from Euphoria. I actually saw her on a show that I used to really like on Netflix. What is it called? Something Boring. I feel like they lived in this place called Boring Town, and it was like a show that had like a bunch of teenagers in it. I think I used to watch it when I was a teenager myself. Everything Sucks. She was on Everything Sucks. I loved that show. It came out in 2018 and I remember watching this when I was 18, 19 years old, and I really loved this show. It was like basically from like, they were trying to date it back from the 80s, I believe, which a lot of shows from my time do that. And as you could see, there she is. That's how I got introduced to Sweeney. I never watched a day of Euphoria in my life. I wasn't really interested in that type of stuff. Like, I had my Shameless phase, but I was just like, I didn't care about Euphoria. So basically in Euphoria, she's more like a sexualized figure on there, and her whole brand is basically just being a sexualized being because of her character Cassie on the show. Basically, like, just like Everything Sucks, it's a bunch of high schoolers, even though they look like they're 30. I think they are in their 30s, and they're freaking, I think Zendaya isn't in her 30s yet, but everyone else looks too old, so I'm just like, ugh. But basically they're just like, it's a lot of like sexual stuff and drugs and all that stuff on that show. Whenever people like inquire, like people go up to her, like journals go up to her and be like, oh, like what made you come up with the idea? She always looks visibly uncomfortable. Like, you're the one that made that brand, and then you're gonna be uncomfortable every time someone asks you why you made the bathwater soap. It's called like Bathwater Bliss or something. I don't understand why she's acting like it's a weird phenomenon when you did it.
I have to ask you about the soap. People on the internet were, I saw people say anything that'll make men shower. I mean, honestly though.
It got sold out like really quickly. I think people bought it for shits and giggles, and also like a lot of simps were probably getting on that. But I would never take this type of stuff seriously because it doesn't even seem like she's taking it seriously. Every time someone asks her about it, she's probably thinking they're asking her about her career. But since this is the more hot topic, more current thing, people are going to be asking her about the bathwater thing because it's definitely not weird, but it's not the norm. She's not like the first person that sold her like bodily fluids to their fans. Erykah Badu did it, and also a woman named Belle Delphine did it. You guys probably remember her from like 2020 or 2019-ish. She used to be like this content creator. I don't really know what the heck happened to her. She used to be a hot topic for a very long time, and a lot of dudes flaunted to her. Everyone like was so super obsessed with her. Whenever I saw her, I felt like she was super duper animated, and I wasn't like, you know, that's definitely not my audience, that's not my type thing. Like, it's giving NPC. She also dropped a line where she sold her bathwater, and it was like a huge phenomenon in 2020 2019-ish, and everyone was talking about it for a really long time because people were like super intrigued by it. Like, did she really use her bathwater? She filmed herself doing it, and she would like package it and stuff, and a lot of people bought it. A lot of dudes bought it. A lot of people like would do weird things with it. They would cook with it, they would drink out of it, they would do a lot of weird things with it. Like, I know for a fact that a lot of them were like taking shots of it. Like, it was odd. So how she did it was basically how she would take like intervals of doing it. She would make like 100 bottles in her bath. She would like put on a podcast and just scoop them. And I'm like, she made so much money off of that. I was like very impressed by the hustle because she turned like a weird niche into like a fun thing and something that wasn't gonna harm her. I'm totally okay with it. Is that people are forgetting that her selling her body increments is a form of SW, because there are people that do sell like their toenail clippings. They sell a lot of different things like hair, like pieces of hair, like stuff, like weird stuff like that. They would package it and then they would send it to like the person that is interested, and they would be selling it for like $200-300. And you have to really be dedicated to that type of stuff because it's not like everyone is going to be interested in doing that. Like, everyone has a different like fetish, but it's a very common thing in the SW world to do that. There was a girl on TikTok that used to talk about how she sold her things, her like weird things from like, I think she used to like vacuum and put it in a bag and sell it because someone was interested in it. Like, people are really interested in like really weird things, and they're willing to buy it off of people, and it creates like this weird bond parasocial thing. Delphine was the first one that I knew that like really was popping with it, and Erykah Badu did hers around the same time, I guess, like a couple of years ago. It was a hot thing for like a little bit. I think the older generations were talking more about it than the younger generation, because with her generation, it's like people like that are in my grandma's age range that probably were talking about her, because my grandma really likes Erykah Badu, and a lot of people were like kind of disgusted because of the name, for one, and for two, the reason for it. So basically she made an incense that was covered in her chonies, and she burned it, and then she would make it that way. We'll put in a video of a dude reviewing it, but he ended up eating the incense, even though incense is not edible, but he still ate it anyways because he's that freaked out and so like gooned out. It's crazy.
All right, smell good already. Oh my Oh my. Oh, so. Oh. I know it's not supposed to be edible, but this is the best ever tasted. Badu's.
But she retailed Erykah Badu's incense was like $50. I don't know how much Sydney Sweeney's soap was, but there was a rumor that people were spreading on TikTok that there was a hole in it. But I find it really odd that in the commercial, in the ad, she was holding up the soap. There was no hole in it, and I just think that they were trying to insinuate that it was for like gooners. Someone started it first, and then a bunch of people started poking holes in it.
Sydney Sweeney's Bathwater soap does not have a hole in it. Like, I need you to be so for real. I need you to have a little bit of discernment about what you see on the internet. I feel like the adage growing up was don't believe everything you see on the internet. And now people wake up, they ask ChatGPT how to wash their butt the first thing in the morning, and then they believe the first AI generated photo that comes across their phone screen. That's what they take as truth and gospel. Or they come on TikTok and someone's like, I saw XYZ, like a hole in Sydney Sweeney's Bathwater soap. And instead of being like, whoa, that sounds crazy, I better get to the bottom of it, they're like, whoa, someone said it to me online. It's gotta be true. People don't think to dig anymore, to skedaddle to the source. And for a lot of people, it's like you believed it because you wanted it to be true. It would confirm certain judgments that you had about Sydney Sweeney. You didn't question it because it reaffirmed your worldview. And I know people want to come into my comments and be like, well, of course we believed it. It's right in line with something she would have done. Like, is it? You don't know that. You don't know her. All you know is that she's a pretty girl with a desirable body who plays into her sex appeal. The extent to which she's willing to play into that sex appeal, you have no idea. I have no idea. All we know is us, how we feel when we see her body, how we feel when we see her sex appeal, how we feel when we see her receiving sexual attention. If you had seen it on TikTok and looked it up and there actually was a hole in the bath soap, then, well, everyone can have their own hot takes from there. But it wasn't even interrogated out of laziness, out of gullibility, and because it's really fun to have a strong negative emotional reaction to someone you've devalued. And people across genders have decided to devalue Sydney Sweeney.
Me personally, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that. I wasn't buying what they were selling, you know? I wasn't gonna believe that because, for one, people will do anything to stir the pot to get clicks and views. Like, you have to really understand social media and how, like, manipulative people can be, because people will try to spin it to fit their narrative. And obviously she would not sell something, like, it wouldn't be too out of the norm, but like it wouldn't make sense, because I don't know, it just sounds stupid. Honestly, this whole situation is so freaking dumb to me that people are really like buying it and trying to like look for it, and then they're trying to make their girlfriends jealous by buying it. Like, it's been like a whole prank too. Like, there's a whole side of TikTok where people are pranking and saying that they bought the soap even though it's sold out everywhere. Your partners have no chance of being with these celebrities, right? Like, why are we getting upset? People also were selling it on eBay for like a boatload of money, and people are also buying it from there, and I'm just like, this cannot be real. I feel like it was like a marketing stunt that people just took way too seriously. I feel like this was just like a satire thing, and I feel like a lot of people get really riled up over like the weirdest things on TikTok, because I'm over here thinking it's not like a big issue, but everyone is just like, oh my god, no, like it's giving Handmaid's Tale and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't see that at all. Like, I just see someone that's just trying to, I mean, yeah, she caters to like male audiences, but that's kind of on her when she was sexualizing herself. That's something that she chose to do. Like, you can't get mad at, you know, people like Bonnie Blue and like Lily Phillips and her for people that want to cater to men, that's their thing. Like, if they want to cater to men and submit themselves and degrade themselves for men, that's not us. It's not gonna make us go back 100 years just because of something that they chose to do. And I just feel like it's such a far reach. I mean, we do have rights as women, but it does seem like sometimes, like, in a way we don't have rights, like when it comes to like our uterus, yes, but we do have more rights than we used to. And like, we are not gonna, you don't have to be a freaking trad wife if you don't want to be. You don't have to be submissive if you don't want to be. Like, these people are just trying to make a quick buck, and you know, they know that their audience is mostly dudes, so they're gonna cater to it to get money. So I'm just like, I don't understand why people are getting mad, because it just worry about what you want to cater to this society and stop worrying about like what they're doing, because like it's such a non-issue to worry about what they're doing, because they don't make up the whole population of women. Not every woman wants to be an OF creator. Not everyone wants to submit to men like that. I always felt really uncomfortable when women wants to do that, but like it's a thing, like where women, not even in a sexual way, but like some women feel comfortable and safe enough to feel submissive to their partners. And I'm just like, you know, that's cool and all, but like, that ain't me. That ain't me. I like having my opinions, and I think because I was a submissive person for the majority of my life, I was always very like willing to make people around me happy than myself. I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, if we were going to go that way, I'm not going to be submitting to that, because I lived that life for too long and it's just not in my books right now. And I just feel like if it doesn't fit your narrative, like if you don't feel comfortable doing it, like, then don't do it. You don't have to do it. It's a choice. We still have choices in this world, fortunately. Learning that now, like, even with me talking about things that are going on in the world, people get really emotional and riled up over the weirdest things, and they'll pick out like what I said, and you could tell that it evokes a lot of emotion with them, even though what I said, it doesn't really, I don't feel like it's very argumentative. I'm just saying facts. Like, I'm just a very factual person, and I like to look at resources and stuff. But I just don't think, like, also people were comparing it to Sabrina Carpenter because her recent album cover was very questionable. I don't know if you guys seen it, but it's been a talk too. So there's been a lot of weird, you know, innuendos going on in that type of field right there. But Sabrina, it's kind of weird that I grew up watching her on freaking Disney Channel, and then I see her like this. It's kind of crazy. But people are saying it's a satire thing. What she's doing is satire, but it's been going on for a little too long for it to be satire for me. At what point does it not become satire? Basically, in her album cover, she's on her knees and a guy is like pulling her head like this. And there was a DV victim that came on TikTok and said her thoughts and said, hey, I don't like that you posted that as your album cover, because when I was in a situation and whenever they would pull my hair, I didn't like it, and I didn't like when they would make me submit to them. Let's not romanticize it or normalize it. Valid. A lot of young people, I don't listen to her music. I think her music is very insufferable, but a lot of people listen to her music. Okay, so I freaking spent 6 minutes talking, trying to remember what I just said, because I guess it didn't save. I just checked right now and it didn't save. So I'm very upset because I don't remember everything I just said and I didn't write it down. I'm just going off of my memory now. But basically, we're blaming Bonnie Blue for what she's been doing with her content, and they always kind of blame her for a lot of like her acts, what she chooses to do in her bedroom is not really, I mean, she's making it public, so it is kind of like a public issue, but what she does with it is a very questionable thing. But teaching little girls to objectify themselves is kind of a far reach. So my thoughts is there's a lot of psychological factors to why a girl wants to sexualize themselves. And it's not because of Bonnie Blue. Like, it could be a factor, it could be a thing, because, you know, kids have like literal unrestricted access to the internet now, and they're kind of just like looking up anything. And on TikTok, like, you could see anything. Like, you could literally scroll and you could see like gay corn somewhere. I've seen some really questionable things, like, and the fact that it used to be Musically, and Musically was like a dancing app, is crazy, because Musically was not even like vulgar and like political. Like, it just seems like everyone is just so miserable on that freaking app. I'm not gonna lie, like, Musically was a more peaceful place. I never had the app, but I do remember as like when I was in high school, I would watch like compilations or try to look up tea of what my favorite creator was doing, whatever. Kids are just looking up anything. Like, everything that they watch has some sort of like sexual innuendo in it now. Like, all those like cartoon shows that they watch on YouTube Shorts or YouTube in general, they always have like a sexual innuendo in it, but the kids are just like not understanding yet. But even if you hear it and don't see it, you could tell. But saying Bonnie Blue is the problem is a far reach, just because the little girl can be sexualizing herself for several factors. She could have been essayed as a child, okay? She could have been neglected, because I know that it's very common with girls with like daddy issues, where girls that were essayed, or even boys that were essayed, to sexualize themselves. It's a very it's a common thing. It's often normal, but I suggest people get help for it before it gets really, really dangerous and you're kind of like being reckless with it. But I've grown up with the girls that were sexualizing themselves, and they would get themselves in some really questionable situations. Like, I remember being like, I was 9 years old, and I hung out with these like girls a lot. Like, they were a huge part of my childhood. They were in my apartment complex too, and I used to go to their apartment for some reason. And also, like, my mom would babysit them sometimes. But there was one time that their mom wasn't there, and the eldest daughter was like a few years older than me, and she was really interested in this like Hispanic boy that was also living in the neighborhood. I think he either lived in the same apartment complex as us, or the neighboring one that was more farther out, because I remember the structure in my head right now, but it's kind of hard to explain. Because I remember I had to ask permission to go over there, and the only reason why I would go over there was to watch her. Even though she was older than me, I would like kind of like watch her to see if she was going to be getting into things, because she was going there by herself, and then sometimes she would bring her toddler sister with her, and they had like no supervision. Their mom did not care, their dads were never around, so they had like no real parental supervision. So the dude comes over, and I don't remember if they were hanging downstairs or upstairs, but I do remember kind of like following them and seeing what they were doing, because I want to bring to their attention, or even my mom, and say like, this is what's going on with your daughter. Like, whenever you guys are gone, she's hanging out with a boy. She wasn't allowed to bring boys in the house, I don't think. So I think they were like fooling around. I don't think they were having sex, because they were like 11, 12 years old, but it wouldn't be out of the norm. But I do remember like seeing on Facebook that he did like touch her cat, so I was like, because they got into an argument and it got on Facebook. I like the dude, but from what I could see as a 9-year-old, I could see, or was I 11? I can't remember. I think she was already a teenager at this point, because I felt like she was a teenager. He was like not showing real interest in her. I think he like liked her just for her body, because I do remember like she was very curvy, and like boys would comment on her big butt, like when we were little, like because she had like small boobs and a huge butt. And like I remember just a bunch of dudes just sexualizing her, and I felt bad, but I remember her loving it, and I was like, this makes me sad for her. Like I just felt really sad for her because she clearly wanted male attention, and like her dad lived like really far in California, like hours away. I remember that because I met him before, and he was really tall, and he just, I don't know why he was there, but he was at the apartment, and I just don't remember seeing him again. Like I don't think he came around. Mom had a bunch of boyfriends that were in and out of their lives. One of them was actually a freaking PDF, and it sucked because I couldn't hang out with them for that long time when she was dating him, because he was hanging around the girls a lot, so anything could happen when they were being isolated, and you know, and I feel really bad honestly, but I couldn't do anything about it because I was little, and also my mom was telling me I couldn't go to their house. I could hang out with them outside of the house, but I couldn't go with them in their apartment because I could have gotten inappropriately touched myself. And so a lot of factors that you do have to put into it. And you can't just blame Lily Phillips, Bonnie Blue, all that stuff, because those are just people that chose to do it. And I'm pretty sure that the people that do sexualize themselves don't really want to do it. A lot of it has to do with like stuff that happened in their childhood that they haven't healed from and still need to fix. But yeah, it's really sad honestly when you think about it. But I just feel like people just come out with a lot of weird allegations and just don't think about the bigger picture here. Like you can't just blame an influencer on this. Like, would it be concerning if a little girl was like, yeah, my favorite influencer is Bonnie Blue? I would be really concerned, because I'm like, where's your mother? But I never heard that. That's something I've never heard in my life, so I think we should be good. But I think for now, hopefully it saves. But I was really upset to find out that it didn't save. I think I clicked a button and it didn't like shut off correctly. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna end it here. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, check out my socials. Everything's linked down below, and let me know what you want to see next week, like for more video ideas, because I've kind of been in a whole creator block right now, so it's been kind of hard to figure out what to post and what people will be interested in, because I'm not really sure. So that's why I end up doing like trending topics, because I know that that's gonna grab people's attention. So yeah, but I'm gonna see you guys next week with a new video, and yeah, bye. Hopefully it saves.